The National Sport Festival Edo 2020. Sport is back home.
All right, yeah, the program still this morning on ITV. You just saw clips there talking about National Sports Festival Edo 2020. Well, we had to reiterate that it is 2021, but the organizers have decided to target Edo 2020 because of the time. This event also had been last year, but because of the COVID situation, the event had to be shifted. So for us as a media organization, we owe you the responsibility of letting you know the nitty-gritty for events, most especially for this kind of national events. We're starting from on the 2nd of April 2021. Athletes are going to be in Edo State. Edo State is going to be the epicenter of sporting activities in the country. And as we stand now, we understand that the state is fully ready. Talking about sporting facilities, as a matter of fact, the deputy governor, went round town yesterday to inspect some of the sporting activities that contingents are going to be using for the tournament. Well, to discuss the state of preparedness so far this morning, we are so privileged to have Mr. Musa Ebomiana, who is the Chief Press Secretary to the Deputy Governor and also a member of the organizing committee of Edo Sports Festival 2020. And also a privilege to have my colleague, Bestin Bere, a sports writer, a sports enthusiast. And she's going to be telling us her impression so far that she has about the tournament, because she goes all around to make sure that to dot the I's and cross the T's. So in the area of sports too, she's doing very well. Bestie, welcome to this program.
Thank you.
Quite a privilege to have you on this program this morning. And Mr. Musa, you're welcome one more time.
Thank you.
Now, I'll just start with you, Mr. Musa. What is the status quo now, concerning the preparation against the backdrop that very recently we heard, rumor that the tournament may just be shifted or taken to another place?
Yeah, like you rightly said, it's rumor. It remains in the realm of rumor because we have been ready since last year. We have always been ready. We are there. If not for the postponement, the games would have been held and long forgotten since March last year. But the federal government, in its wisdom, decided to postpone the games. Up to today, we are still not convinced that the games would have been postponed because we had only one case of COVID-19 in Edo State. I think it was not proper to have postponed those games on account of one case of a Chinese national. Having said that, all the facilities have been in place. The equipment also in place. So, how else can the state be ready for this kind of sports fiesta? We have been ready, we are still ready, anytime, any day to host.
Okay. Now, I saw the deputy governor yesterday when he went around to inspect the sporting facilities on the ground, and of course it was mentioned on that tour that all contingents in Edo State have been vaccinated. Now, what modalities have been put on ground to ensure that other contingents coming from other states are also going to go through the vaccination?
Yeah, it was part of the guidelines from the PTF and NCDC in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development and Edo State that before any athlete or official is allowed into the Games Village, you must show evidence of having taken the COVID-19 vaccine at least 12 days before your arrival.
What do you mean by evidence now?
By the time you are vaccinated, there's a card they give to you to show that you have been vaccinated. And all your resumes posted online, we can access it via your email provided at the point of vaccination. NCDC has all the records of those vaccinated across this country. If we are not too trusting of your card provided, we can put in your name there, your email, and cross-check if actually you have been vaccinated or not. Alternatively, 72 hours before you arrive at those states, you must also show that you have been tested and prove positive.
Okay, let me hold you so that I'll come to Vestenberry. Now, Vestenberry, you are a very keen observant of what is going on, most especially in sporting activities in the state and even beyond. Now, what is your impression so far about the preparation?
Well, we'll give it to the state government in terms of facility. It has always been there, like Musa rightly said. But you can attest to the fact that the enthusiasm with which Edo people were looking at the National Sports Festival vis-a-vis the very first time last year, it's not same like we are seeing it today. And you will recall that every street in Edo, in Benin City particularly, was adorned with the flyer of the 2020 Edo National Sports Festival. But I can tell you now, as of last night, that there is no single, not even one billboard. If I am wrong, I can be corrected to show that, oh, we are happy to host. I don't know why that is the case. Perhaps government has spent money before, and this time around they want to be sure that, oh, it's going to be holding, because this is the third time basically that they postponed the same 2020 Edo National Sports Festival. And so going forward to kind of print posters, kind of print flyers and all that, may cost money, and then we don't actually know whether it will hold. But from what we are talking, it's just 48 hours too. Yeah. Because the Games Village is going to be opened on the 2nd of this month, which is just 48 hours from now. But then, the feeling that Edo is hosting,
the Razzmatazz.
Yeah. I'm actually not seeing it at the moment. And so basically, that's my concern. But if you go to what the Deputy Governor said, which of course is the chairman of the LOC, you will agree that Edo State government is ready. But the people are not feeling the pulse to say it is ready. Okay.
Now, Mr. Musa, just like what Bess said, that you go around downtown, unlike during election period, you see posters, billboards and all that. But for this tournament, we don't have such. Now, whose responsibility is it to have such billboards posted around? That is one question. And on the other side, you talked about that contingents are going to show evidence of vaccination. What about for spectators that want to come? Take, for example, I want to go to the stadium. Do I have to show that I have been vaccinated?
No, let me respond with your last question. COVID-19 is alien to gathering. There are no spectators. It is about the first time in the history of these games where games of this magnitude will be held without spectators.
Oh, you mean it is going to be...
Except the athletes and the officials will be allowed into all the venues across the state.
But don't you think that may impact negatively on the event?
She said it all. He said the threes and threes of the games will not be there. The Razzmatazz usually identify with games like the National Sports Festival will not be there. All we are doing is to make sure we bring every sport, especially the finals, to the desktop for to your homes. You can sit in the comfort of your office and your home and then watch the games live. Via your platform, everything will be streamed live in all the venues. That we compensate for you being physically at the venues, because the curve of COVID-19 Edo is gradually going down. And we don't want it to rise again. It costs a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of energy to bring the curve down. So we don't want to pollute citizens anymore. So we are saying, not only Edo, including the MOC, that the main organizing committee, on the advice of the PTF and NCDC, that these games will be devoid of spectators. But if you're athletes, if you are officials, you'll be allowed into the main venue. You must show evidence of vaccination.
Yeah. Then the making the event known, popularizing the event, just like what Bess was trying to say, that you don't have billboards. Whose responsibility is it?
It's purely our responsibility as LOC to do billboards.
So what is going on?
Just imagine if we had done billboards and you had 3 postponements. You can imagine how many billboards we would have done. These games have been postponed twice. Yet you want us to do billboards again? We don't need to do billboards. there are jingles everywhere on radio and TV. Some of you, we gave some to your station, both your radio and your TV. So they have been running them. Those who have ears, we hear it. Those who have eyes, we see it. So billboard is just for the fancy of the games. If you have a radio, if you have a TV, you should be able to know that something is happening in Edo without actually having to be billboards and flyers. So all over, they are aware that games, National Sports Festival is only in Edo. We don't necessarily need billboards. We would have done that, but for the fact that we've suffered 3 postponements, yet it costs money to do billboards. Yet there's no dime from the federal government. So we are not for the Christmas here.
All right, now Bess, you talked about, you gave us your own impression about the event generally. Let's look at the locations, the centers. The Samuel Osagbovo Stadium is one of the locations, and we have other locations across the state. Now, would you want to give us an insight about your impression on these locations, that this tournament, these events are going to be held?
Well, I happen to be in some of these stadia across the state, and you can see that all is set for the game. But my concern, I'm a little bit worried about the nightlife in Benin. Last night I was out. The center of Benin City, which happens to be the King's Square, you can't move freely. The street lights are not working. And so you are bringing in athletes from the states, from different states of the federation to Edo. And we've known, maybe I don't know the time frame for the programs.
It's supposed to be between 2nd and on the 14th.
The flood lights are very okay. I was there. But what happens to the street lights in Benin City? To show that, oh, we are hosting this national sports festival, and you know that when you have functional street lights, it guarantees security as well. So for me, I am a little bit worried about that. Does that mean that if you have a game, for instance, that will take you into the night, and then you now hurriedly finish the game and take the athletes back, how will they actually feel that they are in Benin City? Yes, the stadia, they are very much ready, but every other thing that will follow. How is the street of Benin today? Except for some group that came out yesterday to start sweeping. How would you feel that guests will be coming in from different states and then a heap of refuse everywhere? So I think that in the next 24 hours to this game, Edo State government should go beyond the jingles that are on now and prepare the state ready for this event, such that when people come in from other states to Edo, they have good stories to tell about us, our sanitary condition, and of course, putting on or ensuring that all the street lights are functioning.
Now, Mr. Musa, so many questions to ask here. Whose responsibility is it now? Kudos to the Edo State government. The floodlight that Bess talked about at the Samuel Ogwemdia Stadium is something that is evidently clear. If you drive around the Kema Road and all that, you'll see it. But that is not enough, because just like what she said, that you are going to have contingents from other states that also want to feel the nightlife. Well, granted that we have curfew between 12 midnight and 5 a.m. now, but before then, some of these persons want to feel Edo State. They want to feel Benin City and go back to tell the story. Now, Mr. Musa, whose responsibility is it again, one more time?
You see, let us not discuss whose responsibility. The state government is one, and state government is responsible. Let me assure you and assure Edo people that the issue of cleanliness will be taken care of.
But do we have started? Do we have that time?
They have started. She actually said so. Said just yesterday saw them cleaning the place. They've started. They will clean up everywhere before the athletes and officials start arriving. They are supposed to arrive here on Friday, on the 2nd. The issue of light, the state government will take care, because it dovetails to the issue of security. Where there is light, the issue of security is taken care of. I have taken care of. So I'm assuring you, I'm assuring Edo people that that issue of light, compared to what we already have on ground, is just minimal. The state government will take care of that. And we have a committee responsible for security, headed by a very senior police officer. I believe they will take care of the issue of light she raised. You know, definitely we are human. There is no way we can remember all these things. But she raised it. It's good she alerted us, alerted the state. I know somebody somewhere is listening and is hearing her.
Okay, Mr. Musa, there are some issues going around that the Edo State government reduced the number of contingents that will be coming from Edo State from a certain number to a certain number. And that is raising a very huge, big dust. Because for the average Edolite, the expectation is that we should mop up all the medals. I mean, if we take a greater number of the medals, kudos to Edo State government. But why do you think, if that story is correct, why do you think it's like that? Why did they have to reduce the number of contingents? That is one question. And the second question is that some persons say that as it stands now, these athletes, these contingents, they are not camped. We have hours to the tournament. They are just in their private homes. And
no. She understands sports very well, perfectly well. We have two types of camps. We have open camps and closed camps. They are in open camps.
In their private homes?
No, no private homes. That is open does not mean you have to be in your bedroom. Just take a walk to the stadium now. You see the beehive of activities going on. Go to, what do you call it now? The gymnasium at TTT. Beehive of activities. Go to Hogwe. Just take a walk. It's not too far from here. You will see activities going on. They are all there training. Yes. Till late from morning till in the afternoon. In the evening they will be back there.
Yeah,
that is open camping.
After training,
so
Mr.
don't necessarily have to be in the closed camp.
I understand what you're
saying. To prepare you for competition.
I understand what you're saying, but I did a little bit of sports while I was in school. Good. I understand that as a sportsman.
Yes.
Most especially when you are preparing for a tournament, there are certain type of behavior you are not expected to be carrying on. You know, stay away from alcohol and all that. My question is, at this point in time, how do you ensure that these guys, they don't indulge in all those activities?
Can I come in at this point?
Okay. Yeah,
now, Mr. Musa was talking about open and closed camp.
Yeah.
It takes discipline, whether you are even in a closed camp.
Exactly.
For an athlete to be able to live up to expectation.
Yeah.
Will you monitor your athletes in a closed camp to when he is going to sleep? If he's asleep and you are asleep, are you going to wake up in the night to go and be looking what he or she is doing? It requires discipline. I give you an example. The Olympics for next year is coming up, and you know Russia has been banned from participating. But they have selected athletes who are going as individual athletes on their own, not representing this country. And these ones will take responsibility for their accommodation, will take responsibility for whatever they want to do. So for the fact that the contingent from Russia will not be taking part fully in that Olympic, does that mean that the individual who so sponsor his or herself to the Olympics will not participate and so discipline his or herself on what to do? So when you're talking about that, I know your point is they are supposed to be in closed camps so that they can be monitored.
Yeah.
But I can assure you that those who want to win medal for Edo State do not necessarily have to be in a closed camp to be able to perform.
Okay,
let me just add to that.
Just 30 seconds quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, quickly.
Yeah, let me add to that. Talk about a number of
contingents.
For reduce from 14 to 8.
Why?
Because of coronavirus. So we have to reduce the number of people who are gathered in Edo. So we don't want to take any risk at all as regards
all right,
that.
thank you so much. Because of time here, I've been speaking with Mr. Musa Ebomiana, who is the Chief Press Secretary to the Deputy Governor of Edo State and also a member of the local organizing committee of Edo National Sports Festival Edo State 2020. And my very esteemed colleague, Bestonberry, a sports enthusiast, sports analyst, talking about how prepared Edo State is. A very big thank you for coming on the program today. Thank you so
very much for having me.
We'll take a short pause now for other segments. Please stay tuned.